Hi and welcome to NCFE's Photoshop tutorial, where I'll be discussing the basic Photoshop tools used on images. However, the way I use these tools may not be the same as other photographers or Photoshop users. So let's get started. When opening Photoshop, it will often come with a blank grey screen, just like the one we see now. For us to grab a picture and bring it into Photoshop, the easiest way is from the desktop, grab the image, drag it into Photoshop. The image I'm actually presenting has been taken from the internet. So let's get started. First thing first, I'd like to introduce the levels. To get to the levels, it's Image, Adjustments, Levels. If I drag this back in, you'll see that there is a histogram. This first part, if I drag forward, you'll notice the image go darker. If I grab the far right, becomes lighter, and if I grab the middle, you can either go lighter or darker. These are your shadows, these are your highlights, these are your midtones. This becomes a bit more personal preference on how dark or light or contrast you would like your image. So when I'm happy with that, I'll press OK. The next thing I'm going to talk about is curves. To get to curves, it's Image, Adjustments, Curves. We come up with a graph. Again, same sort of principle. Shadows. What would be your highlights? And midtones. The difference between curves and the levels is the fact that in curves you can actually connect more points. So it allows you to have more control to your image. When you're happy with your image, you can either press OK or cancel. Either. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the cropping tool. The cropping tool is situated 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one down the toolbar. Click on that and you may get something that looks like this, or you may get something that looks like that. Remember what these the 3 boxes, should I say. Yep, it's the rules of thirds. What's the rules of thirds? I'll let you research that. Okay, so at the top we've got what would be your width and your height. And so what we can do is we can change that. We can change that to 6, 7, 8, 9, any number you want. Photographers do often work in inches. So on this occasion, I'm going to stick with 7 by 5. So it's going to be 5 by 7, and then you just press Enter. The image then will be cropped. Now, the beauty of Photoshop is that if you make a mistake, there's something called the history, which is situated in the Windows, History. You should come up with something like this. If not, sometimes it's situated in this bar here, which I can show you if I just grab and drag it in. There we go. I'll just close my actions for the moment. Okay, so if I wasn't happy with the levels, then I can just go back. Oh, sorry about that. I haven't cropped yet. If I wasn't happy with the levels, then I can just go back to the beginning. I'm happy with the levels, but not happy with the crop, which I don't think my crop has been the greatest example. What I'll do is let me just recrop it. I can press OK here if I want. Okay, so say for instance I'm not happy with that. Just go back, etc. So for the moment, I actually will crop it like that. Great. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th, 8th, 9th one down the toolbar. Clone stamp tool. If I click on that, I'll get a circle. Now we can actually make our brushes bigger. So if I move the size, just get bigger. And then you've got the option of how hard you want the edges to be on the brush. You also have other brush types, from bits of grass, leaves, etc. For the moment, I'm going with the soft brush with this. Now, if I want to zoom into the picture, just press the zoom button. Just going through there. Just click. Okay, so I'll go back to the clone. So you've got to listen carefully on this one, because the clone stamp tool is quite a difficult one. Whatever you do before you start, you have to press the Alt key to an area that you want to copy. So say for instance I can see a dark area here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press the Alt key and it creates this cross effect. Then I'm going to click it with my mouse with the Alt key still down. So it's being clicked. I'm going to let go of both my mouse and my Alt key, put my hand back on the mouse, and then what you'll find is that if I just put it on an area that you can see the difference on, it's actually the bit that we've cloned. So if I want to get rid of this, and then I'm going to click again and again. So this is more designed for blemishes, etc. So if I go back to the history, which is here, and go back to the crop size, you will notice a massive difference. And that's a clone stamp tool. When we're happy with that, we've got something called the healing brush tool, which is situated just here. Healing brush tool. With the healing brush tool, again, I'd like to make it a lot more bigger. Okay, so the healing brush tool works differently. Let me just make the brush a bit more bigger. Okay, so with the healing brush tool, same principle. You've got to press the Alt key down to create the cross. Then you've got to click the mouse together, let go of both. Hover over it, exactly like the clone tool, but this time we're just going to sweep with our finger still on the mouse and let go. Now the beauty with the healing brush tool is that it blends in the pixels. Okay, next thing I'm going to talk about is the burn tool. Burn tool is just this hand here, just there. So I'm going to make the brush smaller. You can make the brush smaller over here. Oh. Now, if I wanted to, in fact, oh dear, if I wanted to, let's say, darken an area, which is what this beauty, right, if I overdo it, as you can see, it makes the whole image darker. So this is a burning tool. This burning tool allows you to control if you only want certain parts of your image darker. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to the history so that we can see the difference. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the dodge tool, situated in the same area as the burn tool, but it's just right, it's dodge. Okay, so if I click that and do the same thing as I did with the healing brush tool, with the burning tool, you can see that it's actually making it lighter. Again, the great thing about that is that you get more control if you want to lighten certain areas of the image. So if I want to lighten this, etc. So if I go back, excellent. Okay, so now what I'm going to talk about is how to make the whole image black and white. So we go to Image, Adjustments, Black and White. Okay, so we've managed to change the whole thing black and white, which is great. But the beauty of this particular tool is that anything that was red, you can change. So, I don't know, there you go. So obviously the baby's face has reds in it in terms of colour. So if you want to just lighten that part, you can. Anything that was yellow, you also have control of. Greens, not much greens in that. Is there cyans? Oh, bit of the eye. Blues, excellent. So that's probably the best example you're going to get. The baby's face was, the baby's eyes were blue. So this is a great example to explain exactly what the blues, yellows, greens, etc. does when you move them into black and white. Yeah, more control in the black and white form. Excellent. So I'll just cancel that for now. Excellent. So next one I'm going to talk about is hue and saturation, situated in Image, Adjustments, hue, and saturation. Okay, let me just bring that in here. So we have the saturation. So if you just have a play around, there we go. So it goes red. So basically it's saturating it. So anything of colour is going to be enhanced. And anything going the other way will end up going black and white. Or if you want a bit of colour in it, make it a bit more vintage, that's great too. Hue, again, just colour changes. You can have a lot of fun with this actually. So yeah, in your time, have a go at that. And obviously lightness and darkness, which is fairly explanatory. Thank you. Alright, so I'm going to speak about the erase tool. Erase tool is just this one here. Let's click on that. Excellent. Now, if you want to change the colour of your erase tool, you can go just click on this colour picker, drag that in, and I have all different colours I can pick from. So for argument's sake, I know we want to colour in this part of the image, so let's go a bit pink. Okay, is that soft brush? Looks like it. Oh, wrong one. That's a great example of what could happen. So if I just go back, and the reason being is that we've said that this one, which is what works with the first bit, is saying that it's white, but we want the pink, so all we have to do is swap it. There we go. You can just change the colour of that. You can use the erase tool for anything and everything really. It's completely up to you. It's a bit like a paint tool, so you can paint on it as well, which is very similar to this tool here, the paintbrush tool. The brush tool, excellent, and again, same. Oh, it's not coming up. Oh, that's why. Okay, let me just change the opacity and flow. And again, that's white. So as a brush tool, you're going to have to swap it. You can paint on that as well. Great. So let's go back to this bit. Okay, so the other great tool we have available is the filters. So if you go to filter, filter gallery, just wait a moment. Excellent. Let me just bring this in properly. And this is roughly what you would see. To actually make the image smaller, you just zoom down. And the beauty of this is you can just do different textures. Just have to press all of these keys. Can make all different things. So you can have a real good play around with this. We'll go all the way down to texture. Again, we've got stained glass window, mosaics. Excellent. Okay, so we've got the idea. Okay, so let me just press OK for that. And then we've got something called the liquefying tool, which is very exciting. So let me just come out of that. Liquefying tool is filter, liquefy. Now the great thing about liquefy is, I think most girls will be very excited about this, as we always comment usually on our weight. Press this tool, make our brush bigger over here. Oh, that's a bit big, isn't it? Okay. Beauty of this is that we can just liquefy certain parts or certain areas of the image, which means that we can, say, get rid of double chins. Bring that in as well, and then you just press OK. So it's original state, new state. Okay. The other great thing about the liquefying tool is that there are other tools you can use, so you can actually have a lot of fun with this. So if I just make my brush bigger, ooh. And this one. And then we could always just shrink the nose. And then maybe, what other tool we can do? Oh, just stretch it out a bit so it just has that. So yeah, you can have a lot of fun with it. Have a play around with that. When you're happy, you press OK. If you're not happy, you can just go back. And I think for that, in terms of the image, I think I've covered pretty much the basics for now. The other thing I'd like to quickly cover is opening a new file page. So if I just reduce that over there. So to get a new page, you just go to File, New, and here you write the name. So I'll just write New Page. Here we have inches for the width. Inches again for the width. You can have centimeters, but we are photographers and photographers work in inches. So the width, I'm just going to say I want 8 inch by 10 inch, and then you've got something called resolution. Now resolution often refers to DPI, so it's dots per inch. 300 DPI or 250 is actually designed for prints, and there are bigger files. So it means that there are 300 dots per inch in the image. Now, there is another way that we also use dots per inch. And what we do is we reduce the dots per inch so that it becomes easier to upload into the internet. So most often we can go with a 72 DPI, and this also stops other people from stealing your images, copyright reasons, etc., etc. So when we're happy with that, we'll just press OK. Excellent. So now we have the baby picture here, and we also have a new page. I'm also going to talk about the text, which is situated just over here. When you press the text box, something should happen. Oh, that does not look good, does it? I do apologise. There's a lot of files open at the moment, so I don't think it likes the text box. Oh, excellent. Right, we're at the text box. Great. There we go. So with the text box, you'll get this box with well, it actually looks like this. Okay, and at the top is your fonts. So you can have all different types of fonts. So let's go with this one. Some fonts do have the option of having it regular or bold when you click on that, but this one doesn't. Also, you have the size of your font. So you can have 18, 14, etc. So it works like a bit like a Word document at the moment. And again, you can have it sharp, smooth, crisp, etc. You can have a play with that. And then you can have it to the left, to the middle, or to the right. Here, again, is your colour picker. So you can pick any colour you want on this. So I'm going to go with that blue, like that. Okay, press OK. Click on it. And actually, let me make it bigger. G. These. Excellent. Now, the great thing about this is that if you go to this, you'll get this rectangular box that surrounds your actual text. Now, if it doesn't look like that, most often it's because you're actually off that. It says show transform controls. Just make sure that there's a tick there. With this, you can either stretch it out, make it smaller, make it thin and long. So you have a lot of options in terms of distorting it. Okay, so if I press enter, what you will notice that if I go to my layers, there's been a layer. These work like sandwiches. So if you have a slice of bread and then you have the cheese, the text being the cheese, then there's 2 layers. And that's exactly how Photoshop works in terms of layers. If I don't want to see the text, I can just click it out. and it will disappear. If I want to see it, I can put it back on. So that's another way of using Photoshop in terms of text. And I think that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed it and you've understood most of it. Any problems, you can email me, or next time you're in class you can ask me any questions, etc. Take care. Bye.